Greetings and welcome to Kerbal Space Program. No. This is Lethal Space Program, a mod variant of Squad's Kerbal Space Program with all the most dangerous and restrictive mods I could find for it. I'm going to be playing with a variant of the permadeath rules, that is, there will be no quick saves, no reverting flights, and no character respawn. Any Kerbal who dies, dies permanently. Let's get started. I'd like to note that there's going to be one exception to the permadeath rule there. MIA characters will come back. I've had weird glitches where they just vanish right off the screen, even if I'm in the middle of controlling them. Anyhow, I am AED Games, and I'll be your host for this lethal space adventure. There's my personal flag. Now, there's been no editing going on in the series here, except for cutting out load screens and the build process. I'm sure you don't want to see me building, cheesy little rockets in the first couple episodes. They're really not going to be going much of anywhere, and that's me turning off respawn on the TAC life support and going through all my other options to see what else I need to turn off. Now, I've got a lot of mods running here, about 25 of them, so it's taxing my system pretty hard. I'm going to turn down the distant objects rendering distance. That'll help with a little bit of my CPU being crunched on. I don't have a terribly good video card, if you can't tell from the resolution there. And as it is, just the base game taxes my system pretty hard. And I wish the toolbar down there was easier to use. What a pain. Trying to stick it in the corner there and it won't stay. And one thing you also may notice is that I've turned off the in-game sounds. Well, the music and the birds chirping and whatnot, the ambient noises, because I've got the entire video bumped up to 1.5 times speed, and it sounds really silly. Okay, so this episode, mainly what I'm going to be doing is grinding science. I'm going to be getting as many science points as I can at the Space Center as I can. Geez, I recorded this a few days ago, and I really don't remember a lot of what I did, so whatever happens, I'm probably going to be just as surprised as you are. And for some reason, I'm showing you the Kerbal system here, showing you that there's, I think my thought behind this was that I'm showing you that there's no ships out there, there's nothing I've done, this is a fresh save. And I don't know really why I'm messing with the map screen right here. One of the mods I have installed is Kerbal joint reinforcement, and for the first several seconds after you spawn your vehicle onto the launch pad, it does not let you do anything with your ship. So you'll often see me right-clicking on parts in order to do a science experiment or get a crew report or whatever, and the menu doesn't come up properly. So I have to wait a few seconds, and a lot of times I'll pop out to the map, just take a look around while I'm waiting for that to finish loading in. So here we have Jebediah getting some science. Take a surface sample. And wow, the resolution on that is not that great. I'm pretty new to the video editing process here, and I'll have to improve on that substantially. Alright, Jeb, climb back in and let's finish this mission. Got some science for the team. And that was worth 18.5 science. A lot of new players don't know that you can get science from right on the launch pad and the runway early on. It's not worth a heck of a lot, but just doing those two things, crew reports and EVA reports and surface samples from those two locations, will get you your first step or two on the science tree. And there you saw the menu where I had no toggleable buttons. So I look inside the crew capsule while I wait, and there they are. Crew report. Not very interesting from the runway. Now, even though I'm starting this from the very beginning, no science built up, no ships in orbit, no nothing, it's not really a tutorial. I'm mostly just whizzing through this stuff, not even really bothering to read the reports. Sorry about that. So, despite the slow start, it actually goes pretty quick because I just zoom through these missions. Boom, done. 12.9 science. And so now I have a total of 31. So I can get some freaking science. At least the first step or two on the tech tree. And you might notice that I'm not running with standard parts on the tech tree there. That's because, as I said, I'm running with about 25 mods going on. Yeah, I think here I was trying to decide what to go with, and I'll let you know now, spoiler, I end up going down the bottom path for the science so that I can get it up as fast as I can. And so I can get into space with as good a technology as I can, as fast as I can. So back to the VAB. Boom. And now we have a tall rocket going on, because we have the science to do so now. So while I'm waiting for this to load in and do its thing, I'd like to thank the host of this channel, Kethane, since I'm having trouble with YouTube's verification process, and it's really hard to get a person to talk to over there. For some reason they say my information is invalid, when it's clearly not. I can call myself just fine. Something about their automated system is saying that my phone number doesn't work, even though it does. So my friend has been kind enough to host this video on his channel until I can get mine up and running. So if you'd like to subscribe to him, he does some excellent Let's Play series of his own. He does Minecraft and oh, taken off. Yeah, he does a very technical Minecraft series, and also other strategy type games like Sins of a Solar Empire. After you check this out, you might want to check out what he's got to offer. So, getting some science done, fresh off the launch pad. Go rocket, go. Now, that's a pretty tall rocket, and you'd think it might take me places. Doing science as fast as I can. One thing you may have just noticed there, I had to put up the antenna in order to send that data back to the to the science center. Because I'm running with Remote Tech 2 as one of the mods. It's kind of a hassle. I haven't played with these mods very much. I've only had the base game. Oh, I just shut off the engines. Yeah, I've only had the base game for about 2 months now, and I have not played very much with any of these mods. I've only gotten, in my sandbox game, I've only gotten 2 Kerbals up into low Kerbin orbit, and returned them safely, barely, because I'm playing with deadly reentry. Coming back into the atmosphere can be scary. One of the 2 rockets that came back It only had one parachute left out of 4 when it touched down. So you can expect some disasters coming up. And I did not go very far because I was only getting science from very close to the surface. Those heat shields are bizarre. They have such a high drag that they basically float down to the ground. You can see it stuck to the bottom of the capsule there. And those heat shields are part of the deadly reentry package. And then the parachute opens and away it goes. Oh man, I have not seen this video in a couple of days since I recorded it. So I honestly don't know what I was thinking or doing. It's pretty funny. So while I drift back to the surface, maybe you'd like to hear the list of mods I'm running here. First off, I'm running active texture management, which is necessary for this many mods, especially all the part mods. Ooh, rocket into the ground. And that thing was still full of fuel. What a waste. And there goes the heat shield. Boom. Right, so anyway, running active texture management. It's necessary with all the part mods I'm running. And it's necessary to keep my CPU from frickin' dying because it's sharing most of the rendering load here. So active texture management, I recommend it for anyone who's playing with any mods at all, especially if you have extra parts, like some of the following. I'm running B9 Aerospace for some of the additional parts there. As I mentioned earlier, deadly reentry, and as you may have seen at the beginning, distant objects, so that I can see things from further away more clearly. Running Kerbal Engineer Redux, although you'll probably never see me use it because I'm not going to put it on any ships. I may use it in the build sequence, but since I'm cutting out the build sequences, you'll probably never see it. I'm running FireSpitter. I've never used anything from that at all. I don't know how that's going to go. I understand it's mostly for aircraft, so we'll see about that. I'm running Kerbal Attachment System for building space stations and colony bases, and also for generally, you know, shoring things up or connecting things that need it. I haven't gotten too deep into that either. I don't know exactly what it's capable of. Running Kerbal joint reinforcement because of the heavy load on my system from all these mods. I've had ships just explode at random for no reason, collapse on the launch pad, things like that, and Kerbal joint reinforcement really helps with that. Although it can be a hassle, as you saw at the beginning of some of these episodes. It doesn't let you do anything until it finishes completely loading in the physics. And there's our first piece of permanent debris right next to the launch pad. Great. I'm running Kethane. I've never done anything with that either. Supposedly you can refill your fuel tanks on foreign worlds, so we'll have to see about that. I'm running KW Rocketry. I don't think I've used any parts from that either. At least not yet. Running Infernal Robotics. I've seen a lot of the parts for this. I have no idea how to use any of them. So I have not put them on anything or tried them out yet. Somewhere in the series I'm going to, though. Oh, and there goes Jeb sitting on his butt. Take a surface sample while you're down there, Jeb. And EVA report. I done twisted my ankle. That's a good report. Let's see. Oh man. Ambiance. You probably won't hear much of this, but I have RCS sounds from it's one of the newer mods on the Curse site. It's pretty cool. You might not be able to hear it much, especially not in the first episode or two, since I don't have RCS jets yet. And having a hard time getting back into that pod. Oh, Jeb, watch your head. Oh no, he's gonna end the mission right now. He's gonna blow up the pod or kill himself. Get out of there, Jeb. Alright. I'm running RealChutes, although I've had conflicts with RealChutes and active texture management. They don't seem to play nice. So although I have the mod and the abilities that it gives, I don't use the chutes, the parts that come with it, because I've had problems with it in the past. And so got another load of science and right back to the freaking VAB, and let's launch again. Rocket's a little shorter this time. I don't think I'm planning on achieving orbit here. So let me see. As I mentioned earlier, I'm running Remote Tech 2, which requires you to set up a communication satellite network in order to send back science. Like if I go to the moon and I don't have proper alignment with the space center, I can't send science back. I'd have to bring it physically back or wait until Kerbin spins around and comes into view. And launch. It really makes Remote Tech 2 really makes the map screen crazy too. There's all kinds of lines being drawn every which way. All your satellites that are connected together have lines popping from one to the other. It gets pretty confusing, but as we go on, I think you'll pick it up, or if you already know the system, it'll be familiar to you. Now I'm playing with TAC life support as well, as you can probably see in the resources tab there. All my Kerbals require food, water, and air, and their waste products build up of those. So if they run out of any, they die. Not immediately, but they have a certain time span, and I'm not exactly sure how long it is per thing, per item that they need. I know they can last for quite a while without food, less time without water, and even less time without air. But apparently they also require electric charge, and I'm not sure how long at all, if at all, they can last without that. I also have wheel sounds engaged, but rovers are pretty far down the tech tree, so we're probably not gonna hear about that for a while. And last I have Floor It, which allows you to throttle up to maximum at the press of a single button. Indispensable. I love it. If you've played KSP for long, you know, or at all, you know that pressing the X key will drop your throttle to 0, but there's no key to max it out immediately. And Floor It does that for you. The last one, I thought that was the last one, but there's actually one more. Kerbal Alarm Clock. I don't think I wrote that one down because, well, it's ubiquitous. I think damn near everyone uses it. It should be a function in the normal game. If you're playing the base game without Kerbal Alarm Clock, you'll launch a mission to wherever, let's say the moon or Minmus, and it's going to take you days to get there. Most people will just zoom through with in-game time acceleration to get there as fast as possible in real time, or in IRL, in real life, get there as fast as possible. But in game time, it burns a lot of game time to do things like that, just one mission at a time, zooming through the in-game time acceleration. So since I don't like to do that, and I don't think a lot of other people like to do that either, I have Kerbal Alarm Clock, which will allow you to send multiple missions to multiple places, and it'll remind you when they're arriving at the locations that you sent them. I think I was aiming for the upper atmosphere here. Yes. But my engines ran out shortly before I could get there. Tragic. upper atmosphere is not even that far away. It starts at 18 kilometers. And I fell about 1.5 kilometers short. Well, a little less than 1.5 kilometers. Let's begin the descent to the ground. And if for anyone who has not played with Ferram Aerospace, it's the one mod on here that I've probably played with the most, at least out of the lethal package that I've put in. It really, and I mean really, changes the way your aircraft and rockets fly. I have not successfully flown a space plane with Ferram Aerospace on. It makes rockets a little easier to get into orbit. A little bit. Especially if you modify the way you play a little bit. In the base game, you typically start your gravity turn at about 10 kilometers up. And you start hooking to the east. With Ferram Aerospace, you usually have to wait a little longer. If you turn too hard early on, the heaviness of the atmosphere will destabilize you and cause you to flip over. And occasionally spin to pieces while doing so. Your rocket will just come apart because it's the g-forces on it while it's flipping, and the aerodynamic stress on it is so hard that it'll just fly to pieces. It's no good. And Jeb is a crazy person, spiraling towards the ground like a bullet. You may have noticed with this this design here, I have the goo pods attached to the fuel tank, I believe. Yes, I do. They're not attached to the actual lander section, the pod, the crew pod. A lot of newer players don't know that you don't need to keep your science experiments attached to the crew pod. You can jettison them, as I just did there, and they will, as long as they land safely, you can recover them from the, what's it called? The tracking station. You can recover them from the tracking station and still get the science out of them. So that's what I'm doing there, and targeting it so I can keep track of how far away from it I get. Switching view just for the fun of it. Now, as most of you viewers will probably know, if you get 2.5 kilometers away from your debris, it'll just disappear. The game will stop rendering it, especially if it's headed towards the ground. So that's why I'm keeping track of, that's why I'm keeping track of how far away it is. I'm hoping it doesn't get more than 2.5 kilometers away, but at this point we're so close to the ground that it won't. It's pretty much impossible that it would. So I'm feeling pretty secure in that. Parachute open. And let's safely come to the ground. Oh man. RealChutes is indispensable. In the regular, oh, what is that? What is that? Oh, that was the heat shield. There it goes. I am glad that didn't hit me. And that was the parachutes from the other section. Anyhow, as I was saying, boom, RealChutes is indispensable in the regular base game. If you're coming in at a high enough speed, your parachutes will just rip right off your spacecraft sometimes, and that's no fun for anybody. RealChutes slows you down gradually, like parachutes should in real life, especially high-tech frickin' space parachutes. Space technology, or space-age parachutes. Especially, oh man, the regular in-game parachutes, the base game parachutes. If you time accelerate in-game when they open, they'll definitely rip right off your spacecraft, and you'll plunge right into the ground. It's not good for you, and it's definitely not good for the Kerbals, especially when you're playing lethal like I am. And so our science is going to land right after us, probably right on the runway, which is cool. And safe touchdown. Very good. And for some reason it says we're on the runway, so all that science has already been done. And poof. Where did it go? See, this is exactly why I was talking about the MIA exception. Any Kerbals that go missing in action can respawn. As you just saw there, that portion of the rocket was in sight and just vanished. So let's go to the tracking center and see if we can see where it went. And there's a piece of debris. Let's pick that up. And that wasn't it. That was the piece that was sitting next to the launch pad. That's a wrap. In episode 2, we'll definitely be leaving the Space Center. Please comment, rate, and subscribe to both myself and Mortakaten. Thanks for watching.